This is the pinnacle of fishing. Catching several big fish in just 1 minute during a single trip to the sea can satisfy decades of fishing cravings. Returning home, your lower back might ache for half a month. This is a Japanese skipjack tuna fishing boat. The term skipjack tuna may sound unfamiliar to many, but in reality you've probably eaten it countless times. While the fishing boat sails out to sea, the crew begins preparing the fishing hooks. The hooks used for skipjack tuna differ from other fishing hooks. They are not designed to release the fish easily. Won't these hooks make it difficult for the fish to escape? Don't worry, they won't get the chance. The crew melts lead, embedding the hooks into molds, then pours molten lead into the molds. Lead has a melting point of just over 300 degrees Celsius, with high density and strong malleability, making it one of the preferred materials for sinkers. After just a few minutes of cooling, a fish hook fused with a lead sinker is ready. Fishing rods are the crew's most important tools. To handle the intense workload ahead, the crew wraps the rods with cloth strips to prevent blisters on their palms. Soon after the fishing boat sets sail, the captain locates a school of fish. Like fishing for grass carp or common carp, fishing for skipjack tuna also involves baiting the spot. Before heading out, the crew loads a large box of live bait fish. With their help, skipjack tuna are more likely to bite. The crew tosses a batch of small fish into the sea, using a spray gun to stir the water into a frenzy, then casts their hooks into the chaotic waters. The seemingly empty dark sea conceals an undercurrent of activity. Eager fish rush to bite the hooks. With just a single pull, the fish are hooked immediately. The small dark-bodied fish flip through the air, drawing half a circle before landing solidly on the deck. These specialized skipjack tuna hooks show their advantage. They eliminate the need for unhooking the fish manually. On Japanese fishing boats, the crew uses protective cloth to minimize damage to the fish. In contrast, in Africa and Southeast Asia, caught fish are often tossed onto the deck, where they are left battered and bleeding. This is when your back strength is tested. For most people, fishing is a relaxing pastime, but here it's hard physical labor. Without proper technique, there's a high risk of herniating a disc. As a marine fish, why is skipjack tuna so easy to catch? It pays the price of its life to show how devastating it is when a weakness is exploited. Skipjack tuna is no ordinary fish. It has an impressive lineage. You might not recognize it, but you've certainly heard of its big cousin, the bluefin tuna. That's right, it's part of the tuna family, but it's the most tragic member. Every year, skipjack tuna accounts for over 70% of the total tuna caught. The vast majority of canned tuna is made from this species. Despite being the king of speed among fish, tuna has a fatal weakness: its permanently open gill covers. It requires a strong current of water through its gills to absorb enough oxygen to satisfy their large energy needs. Skipjack tuna dart through the sea at incredible speeds. With spindle-shaped bodies, they can sprint at 40 to 50 kilometers per hour in water, where resistance is over 800 times that of air. Even if they sense something wrong with their prey, there's no time to react. Their high-speed movement leaves little room for error. Finding food in the vast ocean isn't easy. The sudden appearance of a meal catches them off guard. Instinct drives them to surge upward, rarely noticing the trap laid among the small fish. This impulsive nature is what leads them to the dinner table. As smaller members of the tuna family, skipjack tuna are naturally wary and insecure. They often seek the company of big players for protection. Many golden trevallies and remoras gather around them, turning skipjack tuna schools into major hubs of activity. Skipjack tuna are mid to upper level fish in the Pacific Ocean. In spring, they migrate near the equator to spawn. After hatching, the juveniles travel north to escape the heat. During this migration, they share a common behavior. When encountering large sea creatures like golden trevallies or whales, they instinctively swim closer to them. As their numbers grow, the sea can present a spectacular sight. A massive fish leading tens of thousands of smaller followers. The yellow and white fish in front may not be today's focus, but the small striped ones darting past are the main attraction. Their speed and sheer numbers can easily be mistaken for tiny fish caught between a whale's teeth. Of course, the larger fish act as bodyguards. These hefty protectors often have small companions, and when they feed, they devour larger bait fish near the skipjack tuna, preventing attacks on the big fish. In return, the larger fish fend off predators for the skipjack tuna. This massive aggregation gives fishermen the chance to haul in an enormous catch. With their mouths agape and swimming forward, skipjack tuna are easy prey. Will skipjack tuna, like their cousin the bluefin tuna, eventually become endangered due to overfishing? Unlike their more famous cousin, skipjack tuna grow faster, reproduce more prolifically, and have a wider distribution range. A single female skipjack tuna can lay 800,000 to 2 million eggs per year. Their tremendous reproductive capacity ensures a steady supply of tuna meat. Once harvested, skipjack tuna tumble onto conveyor belts that carry them into cold storage below the deck. Each batch is covered with crushed ice to rapidly freeze the fish. As a fish that struggles violently when removed from the sea, skipjack tuna generate heat from their efforts, which can lead to self-inflicted burns. If it were bluefin tuna, they would need to be bled and frozen immediately to preserve their quality. But skipjack tuna, being less prestigious, are simply frozen as is, skipping the more labor-intensive processes. Occasionally, the ocean rewards hard-working fishermen. Among the skipjack tuna schools, there might be rare and valuable fish, such as big-eye tuna. When these are caught, workers handle them with care using large knives to process them. After several days, when the ship's hold can no longer carry more, the vessel heads back to port. Such a massive catch. Is it destined to become sashimi or sushi? Neither. Fate endowed skipjack tuna with astonishing reproductive ability, but did not grant them a captivating flavor. Compared to other types of tuna, their flesh is dry and has a strong tangy taste. When used for sashimi, it is usually grilled before being eaten. Despite its challenging texture and flavor, it remains a high-quality source of protein. In ancient Japan, to preserve this meat for extended periods, skipjack tuna was roasted and then air-dried. In modern times, in addition to dried fish, they are also processed into canned fish. Skipjack tuna unloaded from fishing boats are transported by trucks to processing factories. Frozen at -50 degrees Celsius, the fish are already as hard as popsicles. Workers unload them, and some of the frosty skipjack tuna are sent via conveyor belt into the processing system. The system thaws the fish, removes the internal organs, cleans them thoroughly, and places them on iron racks, sending them into a steam chamber for a sauna treatment, until the fish meat is fully cooked. After cooling, the cooked skipjack tuna are carried to workstations for disassembly. Workers scrape off the fish skin, remove the bones, and reduce the once whole fish to a pile of meat. The meat from the same fish is placed on small trays and sent by conveyor belt to the packaging stage. Before this, workers push the fish meat into a small channel, where a chopping blade minces it into smaller pieces. The minced meat is weighed and evenly packed into small cans. Flavorful broth is added, and the cans are sealed with lids to ensure the fish meat remains unspoiled for 3 years. The sealed cans are sent into high-temperature boilers for thorough sterilization and disinfection. At this point, the delicious canned tuna is ready. When it comes to preserving meat, nothing is more convenient than cans. The pink paste often seen on tuna sushi in Japanese restaurants typically comes from this process. Beyond being made into cans, skipjack tuna are also crafted into another premium delicacy. Once thawed, workers immediately begin cutting. After removing the internal organs, they cut out the central backbone. The portioned fish meat is placed on iron racks and sent into 85 to 90 degrees Celsius hot water to simmer for 2 hours. Controlling the water temperature is a skill. If it's too low, the fish won't cook through. If it boils, the fish's nutrients will be lost, and the meat will overcook, making it unsuitable for the next step. After 2 hours, workers remove the fish meat from the pot and let it cool at room temperature. They clean off any remaining bones and skin. Using tweezers, workers meticulously remove each bone from the fish meat, ensuring none are left behind. Even a single bone in the final product can cause the product to crack, affecting both appearance and texture. Skipjack tuna have no fine bones, but their hard embedded bones, with curved shapes, make machine removal impossible. It can only be done manually and carefully to make the final product more visually appealing. Before drying, workers fill in the areas where bones were removed with fish paste, restoring the fish to a plump, full appearance. Next, workers place the fish meat on iron racks and move it into the chamber for smoking. To give the fish a unique flavor, they use cherry wood for the smoking process. In the curing chamber at 60 degrees Celsius, the fish meat absorbs the aroma for an entire day. After that, the workers take the meat out of the chamber. Once the moisture from the inside seeps out to the surface, they smoke it again. After 7 or 8 rounds of smoking, most of the moisture in the fish meat has evaporated. From the first time the fish entered the smoking room until now, an entire month has passed. The previously loose fish meat has transformed into something as hard as wood. Although this hardened fish meat can already be shaved and eaten, it can also be further processed. Workers remove the smoked dried fish meat, scrape off the black ash on its surface, and then spray it with a mysterious liquid. A few days later, the once dry fish meat starts to grow mold. Can such food still be eaten? The answer is yes. The liquid sprayed a few days ago is a harmless mold culture. As the mold grows and the fish's surface undergoes repeated enzymatic reactions and drying, the texture becomes not only more flavorful, but also capable of inhibiting the growth of harmful microorganisms. The traditional production process is very lengthy, typically taking several months or even more than half a year. When the moldy fish meat pieces hit against each other, they produce a sound like hard objects colliding. At this stage, the fermented and matured dried product is complete. Due to its hardness, this dried product made from skipjack tuna is called katsuobushi, wood fish. It has earned a Guinness World Record as the hardest food. Many people may not recognize it, but they've likely tasted food made with it. It is a common seasoning for soup bases in Japanese cuisine. The thin feather-like flakes, often sprinkled on street-side takoyaki, octopus balls, also come from this product. Because eating katsuobushi requires a special tool, the dried fish is shaved into thin flakes using a wood planer. These katsuobushi flakes, with their delicate paper-thin texture, make it hard for most people to guess their origin. Hearing its name, some might even think it has something to do with carpentry tools. Thank you for watching. See you next time.